Oh, we're live. I think it says that in the corner.
Yep. Hello, everybody. Well, as you can see, it's been a long time since I've did an interview with some Thomas fans. The previous one I did was Andimski 5781. Did I get that username right? Please sue me if I got it wrong. And Flute Geld 406. And here we are right now with Enterprisingengine93, the man who created some films with little wooden choo-choos and The Simpsons like figurines. I mean, Legos and wooden products, but you get the idea. Well, would you care to say hello to our viewers and introduce yourself, Matt?
Hello, everyone. It's Matt, or Enterprisingengine93 here. I started doing a wooden railway and Lego series in 2011, and I'm still going to this day. I'm a big Thomas fan, a big Lego fan, and big movie fan as well. And Daniel, thank you for having me on the live stream today.
You're very welcome, and thank you for coming in. Right, shall we get started with the first question, my friend?
Sure.
Talking of Enterprisingengine93, can you tell us about the origins of your username, Enterprisingengine93 to be precise?
Well, I was going through usernames, and I think Enterprising Engine is one of my favorite railway series books, and the number was the year I was born, 1993. And I knew I wanted to do something special with that number on my channel at one point. So even though it's really just my favorite book and the username, in the next chapter of Self-Fulfilling Prophecy, which will hopefully be coming out this summer, you'll see how the number 93 has even more meaning than before. So I guess it was an easy username to put together, and I wanted to make it have my username be something meaningful later down the road, which might be sooner than we think.
Wow, that reminds me that it also has some inspirational quotes from the Fat Controller, and I quote, "Whatever happens elsewhere, Steam will still be at work here." And we should be glad to see that the I think it escapes me right now at the moment.
I know what quote you're talking about. It's basically when he declares Sodor a safe haven for Steam forever after Oliver joins them.
Yep.
And it was done in such a way where, even though it was so divergent from what railways were at that time, it made Sodor feel real in some way. Like there is this place somewhere where all steam engines are working all the time because the people on Sodor really love tradition, and it was just really touching. So I love that quote. That's a good one.
Same here, even though I really should have gone back to reading the Railway series books, but I digress. This reminds us to move on to the next question. What is your earliest sorry about that noise here.
No problem.
Right. What is your earliest memory of Thomas and Friends as a child?
Earliest memory? Well, when I think before I was 1, my grandma got me a Brio set. And it eventually evolved into an elaborate Thomas Wooden Railway setup. And I remember when I was young, I wouldn't be able to say the words or anything, but in my head, I would try to remake the stories I saw. So there's a picture of me on the rug as like a 2-year-old with Henry pulling a coach and a milk tanker and Thomas being dragged behind. And it was me trying to remake Thomas and Gordon, or I forget what, I think Thomas and Gordon was the title. It was like the pilot episode where Thomas gets dragged along.
You know, the US title is called, that's where you're living, Thomas Gets Tricked.
Oh yeah, Thomas Gets Tricked was the US one. And I had the blue VHS tape with Ringo narrating, and even though I couldn't articulate what I was doing, when I saw that picture years later, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what I was doing in that picture. So I think the earliest Thomas memory is when I was 2 years old.
Right. That's kind of like me as a child. I did used to play with Wind Railway toys and Earl's toys and whatnot, whilst reenacting them, some old stories and making up some new ones as well. That was some fun time. Yeah, it's like when we were kids, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, very fun. And still keeps my imagination going to this day. So Wooden Railway represent.
Wind Railway represents. Hashtag Wind Railway represents. Next question, Matt. This should be interesting. Who and what inspired you into filmmaking?
Let's see. When I was in 5th grade, we were studying animal categorization. So we're talking about the different types of animals and fish and whatnot. And we had to like do a report or an essay, or we could do a video on these things. So in my head, I thought a video would be easier than having to write out a report. So I wrote a game show about two dim-witted contestants trying to win a game show showcasing their fish know-how. And I got an A on it, but it was really fun for me because it allowed me to be creative, but the video was actually educational. But I could make it comedic and I could add music, and it was just really eye-opening for me because I just really didn't want to write a paper. I really wanted to just make something that was fun, and I had people in my class be the actors, and every year there was always at least one assignment that gave you the option to do a video, and I always took it. So the next year, we had to do a video on advertising, or we could do a report on advertising, and of course I chose to do a video, and it was about two dim-witted briefcase salesmen who try to go door to door and sell hilariously bad products, and at the end of the video they realize that the only thing that they have that works is their briefcase, so they end up trying to sell their briefcase and actually make a profit. So after that, I kept making videos with my neighbors in the backyard, doing all kinds of silly skits. And when my neighbors started moving away, I think it was my junior year of high school. I left my finals, and I said, I really want to make something, but I'm running out of people to make videos with. So that's when I pulled out the Thomas Wooden Railway trains, and that's when I started making wooden railway videos, because it was something that I could make anytime I wanted to. And I had seen, because I was getting back into Thomas as well, I saw all the people that were making videos online, and I got really fired up to do it from that.
Did you know I've been on YouTube for more than a decade? That was around 2006.
More than a decade? That's 12 years, man. Oh my gosh.
Yep. Pretty much, yeah. And this channel, SmurfyDan, will be turning 10 years old in December.
Wow. And that's,
yeah.
I think I'm
December 29th. December 29th. Yeah, pretty much. This is after 2 of my old YouTube accounts got suspended for copyright infringement for obvious reasons. But still, you get the idea. On your story about making films, you should be getting an Oscar or any award for some goals for a filmmaker that you'll soon be anyway. I mean, you had some interesting story on getting an A for an educational video, and then you're now making a brand new skit film with 2 dim-witted men and the suitcase. Did I get it right?
Yeah, so that was when I was still in like grade school, and I don't have access to them anymore. They were filmed on VHS cameras, and they're on VHS tapes buried somewhere in the basement. But I always loved doing it. It was creative, and I'm always down to do more. A friend of mine is in film school at the moment, and I helped him with his student film, and I got to film it. And it was about 4 guys in a hot tub who are helping their friend text a girl he met, but the girl doesn't know that 4 guys are helping the guy do it. So they're making him say all the wrong things, and it's just really bizarre, but it was really fun to film it. So outside of Thomas YouTube, I do try to find other projects like that to get me out there and work with other people. And I'll keep trying. I've always wanted to do like some sort of action comedy, or just something really silly. So who
Very nice.
knows? Like I always find a way to sneak that into my Thomas stuff, but when I can, I find other things to latch onto as well.
It kind of like reminds me of how Chris Aiden Green does with his Steam logos and profile videos. You know, when he does the some documentary series featuring real life steam engines in England, and in viewer video would had to add Thomas like some April Fool video or something like that.
Oh, I think I remember that. Like when he said he was going to do a profile on Thomas, when he always said that he wasn't going to.
No, not really. It's just, he just did that as an April Fool's joke.
I see. Okay.
So I can see how you're going there. And that's another thing that you're telling us the story about your goals in filmmaking. That kind of reminds me a little of James Rolfe or at least the Angry Video Game Nerd. If you get what I mean.
No, what do you mean? Is this a user?
James Rolfe, you know, it's in the Massacre.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
James Rolfe, Angry Video Game Nerd.
Because he does skit-like stuff, right?
Yep, he did some skits as well.
Oh.
One of it. That reminds me, and on to the next question that hopefully I should make up an easy one. Who is your favorite filmmaker?
Filmmaker. I think Wes Anderson. His films are very unique and symmetrical, and there's the humor in some of them I really like, and it's just they're very colorful, and the way he arranges a shot is very unique and catches my eye. Like sometimes I watch a movie and I don't know who the director is, but some of my favorite directors I can tell just by looking at it who directed it. And he's one of those people.
That's an interesting choice of a filmmaker, because I mean, most people would obviously vote for either George Lucas or Steven Spielberg.
Oh, I love their films. Spielberg is one of those people where you can tell Spielberg is directing.
Yep.
And I guess with George Lucas, every Star Wars movie that wasn't directed by him, I can tell it wasn't directed by him, but I still like the new Star Wars for the most part.
Last Jedi was good.
Oh, I love The Last Jedi. I thought it was great.
Too bad for some picky fans had to go at it, and some actress who played Rose, well, kind of felt bad for her, really.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that it's not just the Thomas fandom that can sometimes be a little rude, but it seems like the Star Wars fandom is also, there's negativity in that brings people down. But to a much larger scale, because the adult fan base of Star Wars is much larger than the adult fan base of Thomas.
Let's not forget that happens with. Yeah, let's not forget that happens with Steven Universe fandom as well. Steven
Universe, I think Rick and Morty has had some strange things happen. No matter where you go, I think Daniel Long said this. He said, well, maybe he quoted this, I don't remember, but there's always going to be someone mean who likes what you like. And it's just something you have to be prepared for. And that wasn't the exact quote, but it made me feel better. And just help. I try to remember that whenever you like something, there's someone who likes it that's not going to be nice. And that makes sense.
I felt it that way as well, yeah. And that's getting back into Thomas questions. Next, how did you find out about YouTube and the creativity of the Thomas videos made by fans?
Well, I used to go on this website called Flash Player, and there were all these claymations, and they were like little like flash animations, like Cactar and Tonberry. It was like before YouTube, there was this site where people would put their animated, like there were memes on this site in 2005. Like it was very ahead of its time, but it didn't become the main thing. Eventually YouTube took its place, or not really took its place. It just appeared, and I didn't go there anymore. So I guess I found out about YouTube through Flash Player. And when
Yeah.
I first went on YouTube, I was really watching it for Smosh. I I used to go on YouTube to watch Smosh, look up Star Wars things. I was really into Lego stop motion and Star Wars Lego things, so I would go on YouTube for mostly that. But when I was getting back into Thomas, I also used YouTube to watch episodes I hadn't seen before, because when I was a kid, I only got up to half of season 6 and then I left for a long time. So I'm like going to toy stores and I'm like, who the heck is Neville? They've introduced so many new characters. And then I sat down one day and I caught up. And it was a fun weekend.
Having mentioned Neville, that reminds me of some username I've had in a long time ago, other than Dan5589. That was another one, and that's one I had at the time was Neville Fan. Before that and Dan5589 both got suspended in September 2008, and now here we are on Buster the Steamroller, now called SmurfyDan. That's where I am at. So that's still. You had some pretty interesting story on Thomas as well, and how you find some videos on YouTube, but on Flash videos as well before YouTube. I mean, what I first saw stuff before YouTube were some redubs done by Soda Island Fanside about a half the year before I came across YouTube.
Oh, so that was the SIF Productions page.
Yep, that is pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah, they did some earlier redubs. Not only that, but I saw some all other older Thomas redubs that were done by none other than Daniel Snell.
Oh, well, there you are.
Yeah, that's where I was at that time before I came across YouTube. Talking of YouTube, what is your YouTube series Enterprising Engine or Enterprising Engines all about?
Well, I think it was founded to give characters that weren't given enough screen time or needed, or I wanted to do more things with, a chance to shine. And this could be anyone from Oliver and Toad to Daisy to Flora's coach to Flora. It was a series where Ivo Hugh and Fearless Freddy can talk to each other. It really just started with, these are my favorite characters. These are characters I wanted to see more of. Let's give them stories and let's give them something to say. And I think the series is still about that, but it's gotten so much bigger, and characters who didn't have much to say have suddenly become very established. I went through a list of my episodes and found out that Bertram has the most speaking roles of any character. Yeah, so I have Bertram with the most speaking roles, and he's never said a word on the show, and he appeared for 20 seconds. So you can see how different the series is, and also Thomas has had minor roles, but he was not a lead character until June when I did Thomas and the Fortune Teller. And originally, I was making a statement about Thomas too. I'm like, Thomas isn't everything. He doesn't have to be in everything. I'm going to give the smaller players a chance to shine. And now, since the CGI era of the show has brought back so many old characters and given them good stories, I sort of feel like I can do whatever I want and incorporate whoever I want to. And it also felt right to finally give Thomas a lead role, since I've been able to do so many other stories. I think I have close to 68 stories total, which is a lot. And
interesting number.
Yeah, I think it was just made to like show all the characters and tell a story about how important it is to forgive. I guess that might be a theme I'm more working towards, but that's definitely what it is.
Yeah, they're talking of Bertram. That there's in some recordings of the third chapter of Steam Magazine that is on the Soda Island part, and we were on the Caldy Mountain Railway, that you had to say that Driomedican. That's when an idea came into my head, and I'm like, why not include Bertram in it? As if he's shouting Driomedican.
Well, Bertram's always shouting, especially in my stuff. But yeah, just love the characters, and it's fun because especially when characters are blank slates like Bertram, you can kind of do whatever you want with them, and that makes that really fun. And sometimes when you have a little bit more to go off of, you can flesh them out into something even more than they were.
Yeah, I just felt that it would be worth a subtle nod to your series when it comes to adding Bertram into some certain part of my fan documentary and whatnot.
Oh, I would always be pleased. I might even throw in a Bertram quote as I'm reading.
I thank you for that. And I also like that how you did that, the little bit of welcome Stan. Sorry. In the blooper feed, I felt the need to incorporate that with a picture of Stanley. Stanley from The Great Discovery. You know how it goes.
Yeah, welcome. I'm sorry. Yeah, sometimes I goof around and I'm like, this is not going in the final thing, but if he makes a blooper reel, this will definitely make the blooper reel.
Definitely. It definitely would, man. You'll be thankful for that. Some fun times of having. Anyway, that reminds me. Shall we move to the next question?
Sure.
Right. Getting on to more about your series. What do you love about making a fan series? Are there many factors and obstacles along the way?
Well, making a fan series is really fun. It allows me to be really creative. And I have used it as an excuse to do all of my favorite things. I love Thomas, I love Lego, I love filmmaking, and I love being outside. So I basically took a lot of my favorite things and made it into one. Some of the obstacles are the sun. The sun is only out half the day, and sometimes it's raining. So instead of having a studio where I have complete control of the lighting and the weather, when you're outside, you're more at the mercy of the elements. Sometimes it could be a beautiful day, but it's so windy, all your Lego people blow away. Sometimes it can just rain in the middle of your shoot. And one time, a bird laid some droppings on my Henry while I was filming him. So I have to find this take, but I was filming Henry, and he was in the woods, and bird droppings just came down and fell on his boiler. And I was like, oh, are you kidding me? So
you mean to say that bird pooped on Henry's boiler?
Yeah, a bird pooped on Henry when I was filming once. And if you go to New York, they tell you that's good luck, but I didn't feel that lucky at that moment.
Mind you, I went to New York about a decade ago or so with my family that one time for 2 days or so, I think. Well, less than 2 days. While we were on our holiday in Massachusetts. It was blazingly hot. The global warming is no exception. That's why I went there with my family, if you get my meaning.
Oh, New York City is so hot. Oh my gosh, like all the concrete just absorbs the sun. You're practically baking there.
Yeah, we're pretty much like a baking potato.
Oh my god.
Local tracks and bumpy trucks much?
Oh my gosh, with a bottle like sets the grass on fire. Yep, that's. Yeah. But there's no Bell and Flynn, unfortunately. But you're still things are gonna heat up there.
Hey, oh yeah, that'd be shameful if a global warming's made things worse with making a grass go on fire or providing some great flood. It can be no brainer.
Yeah, it's been raining so much here, so I don't want things to flood because I want to keep filming. But the summertime is the best time, even though that is the hottest time to be outside. I've been filming with one Thomas Fan 99 in my town, and there was one shoot we did where it was just like 90 degrees and there was no shade. But we powered through it. But man, was it a hot day.
Oh my gosh. Well, other than that, you've seeing how you've been a more of an outgoing person as much as I did when it comes to summertime and having to go outside to woods and forests and valleys and sometimes steam railways in some cities. If you get the point. I mean, it's good to go outside and have some fresh air.
Oh, it is for sure. I go on walks all the time, and it
Yeah.
helps me think of episode ideas too. Like I'll put on my iPod and just walk for an hour or two, and I do a lot of my brainstorming that way.
Likewise, most of the time I do with my mother and some dogs. The dogs that we had can be some nuisance. Our one, Chewy, is no exception. He can still be a little rascal.
Oh, I
He
know what
goes.
a rascal is like. Do they like run away and get into antics?
Yep, pretty much. Barking at postmen, barking at people when they're passing, when we're walking by. And he sometimes poops in the house. That was only a year ago, but now he wants to go outside. When I had to open a garden door, the back door to the yard, the dog tries to jump and bite my hand.
Oh my
That's no.
gosh.
Yeah, like I said, he can be a rascal. But I knew what to do, and I had to avoid getting bitten by a dog whilst trying to open a back door. To
My
let him
dog
out.
jumped on a table once and ate 3/4 of my sister's birthday cake before her birthday. So I know all about them rapscallions.
As they say, all dogs new tricks.
Exactly.
All right. Now, enough jibber jabbering. Moving to the next question. Do you have a favorite, or in your case, any favorite stories from your series?
Like a favorite, as in my favorite story in the series?
Yep.
All the World's a Stage, where the narrow gauge engines put on Hamlet to raise money for the damages done to a theater. That will always be one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I love that one. And one of my other favorites is Waterworks, where Stanley explores an abandoned waterworks near Great Waterton and falls through a floor into a basin or something. Not a basin. It was like kind of like the drainage for some of the water flow, and it starts to fill with water, and his driver and fireman have to find a way to escape before they drown on the inside. So it was very much like a high stakes season 5 episode. That one was always a cool episode to me because I was so inspired by season 5, but it was also like they were so fast paced. They were short and sweet, and so much happened in them. And that was one of the episodes I felt like I really homed in on the themes of that season.
Right.
So those are two of my favorites.
Mind you, I first saw your earlier videos on YouTube, but not well, as far as in November 2011. That I believe it's starting with your Stepney video. I think the Stepney takes a tumble.
Oh, Stepney makes an entrance. Okay.
Yep, pretty much. That's it. And I was after watching earlier videos I've watched, I was like, this should be an interesting. Someone who does filming Thomas toys outside of his house on fine scenery. I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, it's definitely a lot of fun. I've moved from that old house, but when I first started filming, I mostly filmed on a patio with a green bush as the backdrop. And when I look back at it, it seemed like I was filming plays because the bush was kind of like the back curtain, and the ledge of the patio, there was a thicker side and a shorter side. I did most of the filming on the shorter side, so I could only fit like 4 lanes of track. But they were kind of like little play performances. And even though it was really simple, the lighting was great. I loved the green. You could make a bunch of sets on it. I could tilt the camera around to get different angles of it. It was great. I wish I still had it because I would probably still do a lot of stuff on it. It was really good for mainline scenes for sure. Especially, it kind of mimics the mainline of the CGI era where it's just green in the background and a few lanes of track.
No kidding. Sounds like a good fun fact from coming from a guy who loves to be a filmmaker and a storyteller around the world. Or maybe, yeah, I could be wrong, but if you get the idea, a passionate filmmaker who uses toy trains and little figurines to tell stories outside of his house, which is a fascinating story.
Oh yeah, it's really fun to do, and a lot of other people on YouTube are using that, like Arthur the LMS engine, Turtles and Thomas films outside, Harwick Branchline engine, or
Oh
I
yeah.
think Harwick Branchline Productions. A lot of people are filming outside, and because people live in different places than me, you'll see people filming outside in Washington and California, all across the country, and it's beautiful. And I think I'm so interested by it because sometimes you can get a real world shot of the toy and it looks like you're on a really good set. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it just looks so good.
Like
Um,
on a grander scale or something like that?
yes, like one of my favorite shots I've ever gotten was when I had got this old iron bridge prop and I put Skarloey on it on the top of this big rocky hill, and I
Oh yeah, I
swear
remember seeing
it
that.
looked so good. Like it just looked like it was the actual thing, but maybe even a little bigger, and the
And
view
don't
was
tell me,
terrific. It was so
don't
great.
tell me, pretty much like Series 5 all over again.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Season 5.
Yep. I remember having first saw Series 5 when I was only still 7 years old, when Spooks and Surprises VHS came out in stores. And I'll admit that when I first saw all the stories, including Haunted Henry, I was kind of like going over the moon, especially with that climactic moment with Haunted Henry when he has to push some trucks over the passing crossing and onto the ravine, if you get what I mean.
I do. Like I love those stories because I thought like, wow, Thomas isn't afraid to scare me, you know? And Haunted
Yep.
Henry is one of the scariest stories because not all the questions in the episode are answered. You don't know who opened the gates. You don't know who did that or whatnot. So I don't think Old Bailey was the person orchestrating everything. I think there might have actually been a ghost behind the scenes.
Sometimes I like mysteries and some surprises as well.
Oh yeah. So a mystery that you can still think about that made season 5 really mysterious and magical.
And some exciting in some points, if you get what I mean.
Oh yes, races, rescues, and runaways abound. That was the season for that.
Yep. That's what it should be called. Whereas we did get Series 22 with Big World, Big Avengers.
Yes, and I guess we'll see what that's like. I've heard there's gonna be a faster paced, and there's going to be half stories on Sodor, half around the
Around the world.
world. We got some new characters to meet, so I
Yep.
think they're all gonna be on Netflix, aren't they? Or at least
Yeah.
Amazon.
We'll just have to wait and see until the final product comes out. I mean, when it comes out in cinemas or television or even on Netflix or so, or even on Nick Jr., like I was saying, is wait and see. You just
Yeah,
never
we'll have
know
to
what
wait and see.
happens. Yep. You just never know until you see it for yourself.
Mhm.
It should
Yeah.
be fun. That
Yeah,
reminds
are
me.
you gonna see it? Are you gonna see it in the cinema when it comes out?
Yep. Especially in Blackpool on the weekend of July 21st, before going to see Sooty.
Oh, cool. Is it like a double feature?
Actually, Thomas in the local Odeon cinemas, and then Sooty in the North Pier in Blackpool.
Oh, okay, so
Two
you just have
different.
a big day planned.
Yep. Blackpool is pretty much like a seaside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where Sooty is found and bought by Harry Corbett in 1948.
Oh, okay.
Yep. That reminds me, I had some random question that now that we've mentioned Legos and most frequent parts. That reminds me, do you have any ideas on why you'd use some Lego figurines in your Thomas videos the most?
Well, I love Lego, and I had so many of them that I just decided to use them as the people in my series. They have multiple expressions. There's a huge variety of what you can do, and the facial expressions were a big thing. In HO videos at the time, a lot of the human people, they weren't given larger figures for close-ups, so they would only film the HO people, and they would never have painted on faces, and they were so tiny. So even though those are more in scale, I decided, since I'm filming with wooden toys outside anyway, why am I thinking about scale? Let's just put Lego people in. And it's just one of those things where it just combines two of my favorite things, or three even: Lego toys, Thomas, and being outside. So I guess it was just kind of a preference and adoration for the Lego stuff that made them fuse together.
You did certainly have some good preference when it comes to scale toys for scaled little wooden choo-choos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So like the wooden railway stuff, they're not really to scale. Like all the engines are the same size, even the narrow gauge and standard gauge. The buildings, like even the wooden railway people, if I had used the wooden railway figures, they would have been twice as tall as the engines. So
Wow.
Lego was actually a little bit of a step downward, where I can like clay them to the side of the engine, so I can have like a driver poking out. So yeah, I'm just a big Lego fan. They're also posable and they can hold things. I love that the G scale engines, you can use Playmobil people and they fit perfectly. Like if I could choose a different type of engine to use in a series, if I could afford it, I would do G scale and just load up on Playmobil people.
I did used to play with Playmobil toys while I was in school. Well, Merton Abbey School when I was still a child. I did love how they used some simpler, happy expressions and whatnot. How they simplify the scale of toys, unlike that of a Lego, as you have told us about.
Huh.
Like there were
That
many
was
differences between Playmobil and Legos in terms of figurines.
Huh. Yeah, Playmobil people are great because they have the little claw hands. They can hold stuff. They're not as posable, but there's a lot of funny versions of it.
Yep.
And they even do licenses now. I'm pretty sure that you can buy Ghostbusters Playmobil. I think I saw that in the store one time. And I'm like, oh, I thought only Lego did the license stuff.
Right. All right. Reminds me of when it comes to Lego people, have you ever seen some videos by Turbo J UK, like the Trouble with Trains trilogy and the Desktop Chronicles videos?
Yes, in fact, my Sir Topham hat in my series I designed based on the Sir Topham. Wait, it's not Sir Topham hat in his series, but I made the minifigure based on what he made.
Oh yeah, like Reggie, that train driver and whatnot.
Yeah, I love Trouble with Trains. I think I've seen all three.
Me too. Likewise. Oh yeah, and now it comes to some interesting questions outside your YouTube videos and stuff like that. Are you ready for this one, Matt?
I'm all ready for this.
Okay. Would you care to do the honor to make a quickest version on how you joined the Thomas Creator Collective team?
Yes. So I joined the collective in September 2015. I got a YouTube message in my spam folder on August 26th, my first day of my senior year classes at university. And it was from the current producer of the show saying he was assembling a team of people to make an original story on the Thomas the Tank Engine YouTube channel, along with the Train Modeler, Brendan Race 10, and Caleb Train. They had already been approached, and I was really excited. And over the next few months, we were working on the production. Diesel D199 was brought on board. Musicians were brought on board. Tyne Sensith, Upside Now, and the Tugster Intensifies were brought in. And Secrets of the Stolen Crown came out later that year, along with The Great Snowstorm of Sodor. So those were the two productions that came out in 2015.
Wow.
And then Gordon's Grand Adventure was the first series of 2016. And people didn't know it at the time, but the series was not really about merchandising and advertising when it started. It was just meant to be a one-off production. But the reason the TCC has persisted for so long is because when Mattel saw the success of the initial videos, they said we could use this show to promote our products. And we were given a year season contract to make videos every week, except this time there would have to be a larger emphasis on the product. So I'd say from Philip's Bumpy Branch line onward, that's when videos came out very consistently every week, and they did so until about the end of 2017. And the TCC is still going. After a short hiatus, Ryan's Branch Line Trouble came out just today on the UK and US channel.
Yep.
And it's amazing how much it's grown. So many people have joined and contributed to the series in a lot of ways. And from what I understand, the TCC will be making stories and content to tie into Big World, Big Adventure. So not just about the merchandise, but tying into the big themes of the brand. That's something we've always done. So yeah, it's definitely evolved quite a bit since I got a message in my DMs in my spam folder in 2015. It's come a long way.
Well, here's my quickest vision of how I joined the team eventually. It was around, I believe, in May of 2017. That's when one of the users tweeted the status as if they were looking out for new animators and editors for future videos. So I felt, why not, decided to pitch in one of my legacy chapters videos as an example. And it wasn't long until nearing the end of the August 2017, that's when one of the producers had got in contact with me, and thus my association with the TCC had already begun, and it is fairly doing very well, and I'm pretty much enjoying it. A lot of challenges, especially having to edit scenes and music videos and whatnot, as I believe that's our Aaron and you and everyone else around.
And since Daniel's very humble, I'm going to say this directly to all of our viewers, but Daniel joined the edit team around the Superstation series. It was a very important series for the collective, and Daniel took on more and more editing. He was one of the keystones, and he is one of the keystones of the edit team now. He did at least half the scenes for a very long time. And he's one of our most focused and determined editors. So, you know, like everyone, like he's done, ever since Daniel came on the team, things became so much more streamlined, and it was just great. So Daniel, you've done fantastic work, and I'm really excited to see what else you've been up to as more of the TCC comes out this year. It's been really fun to watch.
Thanks, Matt, and I thank you in return for all your guidance from the start. I fairly appreciate that.
But
see, one of the most challenging stuff I'd have to go through in terms of TCC videos. Would you mind me to tell you the quickest version on that one?
Yeah, feel free.
Oh yeah, it was around the end of November 2017. That's it was with Hurricane Helps Out, in which I was assigned to do the final edits of the entire video, with the exception of Frankie's vacation portion, which is already done by yourself. And it was a lot to chew and to tackle as well, having to finish to compile the lots of chapters into one video by the end of the Friday, December 1st.
That was a challenging video because from what I recall, there were scenes of that video that needed to be cut, and
Yeah.
I think the Frankie's vacation was postponed by a producer. Like that video was a whole mess to get out there, but we wouldn't have gotten there without you.
Yeah.
So you rose to the occasion. You did an awesome job, and hopefully other videos won't be as painful as that one was to make.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Likewise.
I think I did the part where the trucks were singing, where Joel was
Yeah.
Hurricane. Yeah, I think I did that part.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you did that one. And you did that one scene with Lexi as well.
Oh, with the ladle cars. Oh yeah, like that was challenging too. 'Cause I thought I had lava, and I didn't. I had to look for a long time to find the molten lava for when the ladle cars are tipping. So oh, the memories.
Yep. If it wasn't for Hurricane helps out, I wouldn't have been up for another ultimate challenge in editing any future episodes likewise. Other than having recently finished editing music videos for the TCC team. The one I did is showing right now alongside Ryan's Branch 9 Troubles with the 2008 rendition of Accidents Will Happen.
Oh, there we go. Oh, so I'll have to check that out later today. So is that part of TCC Special Delivery?
Yep, it is part of that.
Oh, okay. You've done other music videos too. You've done did you do Joy to the World?
Yes, I did Joy to the World. I did the editing as well.
Oh, cool.
And Ride the Rails. That's another one.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Yeah,
I personally felt it was a right tail end of 2017 TCC videos, and it was a perfect way to end the TCC 2017 series of videos. I like that one.
Yeah, it's really nice. You get to see everyone's name who worked that year in the montage. That's really nice.
Other than my name, there's Aaron and you and the Diesel 199 and Adam and so on and so forth. It is nice to see everyone's name in it other than myself. I felt
Wait, why wasn't your name in it?
Well, my name's in the video, yes. Daniel Covey, editor.
Oh, so you were included in the video?
Yes, I were included in Ride the Rails. My name. Since I've joined in August 2017, if you get what I mean. Matt?
So you weren't in Ride the Rails?
Well, my name's in, yes.
Okay. That's what I was worried about. Okay.
Oh, no worries. Sorry for not being clear on this one.
No, that's fine. I would have been upset because you edited since Superstation, and if you weren't in it, I'd be like, what the heck? He was in it.
Of course I'm in it.
Okay, good.
Just to assure you. Okay, enough discussions about TCC, just to avoid getting carried away.
Yeah.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, of course.
It should be an interesting one. Here's another one. So here goes. What are your general motivations within the Thomas fan base?
General what?
General motivations.
Oh, well, I'm very inspired by other people. So when I see other people being creative or they make a really clever story, it makes me want to do something as well. Seeing all these custom model makers makes me want to improve and introduce new characters in my series. It's generally the enthusiasm someone has for a project I find to be very infectious. So when I see someone else is really fired up, it kind of reminds me why I love it. And it makes me want to learn more about Thomas and make videos and make things that people are excited about. So I guess the Thomas fandom is what motivates me in the Thomas fandom.
All right. Other than my videos that you have participated in, I mean, Stimming to Legacy, Who is your favorite Thomas YouTuber? I mean, who would you recommend people to watch other than ours videos?
Well, I'm a big fan of Turtles and Thomas's series, Sudbury in Conflict, and I've helped out with some writing in some episodes and just doing some improv as a human character. I play Robert Stewart, who talks kind of like this. He has a very goofy Patrick Star sounding voice. And I've also helped film a bit of the series. It's really good. It starts out like a game of Risk, and by the end of it, it becomes this really high stakes character drama. So
Right.
I think Sudbury in Conflict is great. I think if you go through the whole thing and see how it evolves, it's a really satisfying experience. And he just released his finale a few weeks ago. So it's a finished series. There aren't many fan series out there that have a beginning and an established ending. So if you want closure, this is one of the few Thomas fan series that gives you that.
Right.
And it's also a series with Wooden Railway and Lego people. So it's right up my alley. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites.
That's a nice choice of one of a favorite YouTubers. That reminds me, I played Mr. Percival in one of his episodes. That is kind of like Trouble in the Sheds.
Yeah, he did like a little Adventure Begins sequel where with all the tenders and turntables and Percy coming to the railway. And yeah, you were a great Percival. Yeah, I think he really liked your performance.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
This is how I sound like when I'm playing Mr. Percival in one or a few of his videos. I do tend to try to sound like a decent impressionist of Keith Wickham's voice of Mr. Percival, but I digress. Keith Wickham or Carrie Shale, preferably Keith, did a much better take on Mr. Percival as much as I did.
Yeah, Keith is the best, but you might have been better than the US dub where it was like, Duncan, you have to be polite. Like, you know, like, I think I preferred your interpretation to the US one.
It's been a long time since I've watched some US dubs of Thomas on DVDs, but I'll try. I will have to meet Sir Topham Hatt. Is it how it goes on that?
It's just really nasally the way it's done.
Yeah. Welcome to my railway.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I have a. We're about to move on to 2 more questions left, or at least 3. Right. Next one is, I'm not sure if that's already been answered, but do you have any further plans for the future of your YouTube channel and beyond?
Yes, I'm currently working on a 5-chapter conclusion to my season 2 of my series. And I finished the first chapter, and it's called Thomas and the Fortune Teller. And my goal was to finish 2. Thank you. My goal is to finish the next 2 by the end of the summer. I'm not sure if I can do it, but my plan that I can definitely vouch for is that I want to conclude this 5-chapter story. I've been working on all of them at once, but I'm hoping that they all come out, but that's probably been my main focus. But I've been trying to be more active on my channel as well. So I've been also trying to have content every Friday. So sometimes it's custom model videos, sometimes it's music videos. Today I did an adaptation of the annual story Whistle Trouble.
I just happened to see that one. It was a nice simple adaptation. I'd watch it again once I finish this one as well.
Oh, maybe thank you.
You're very welcome, Matt.
Joey Turner, who plays Sir Handel, he always adds so much great improv to it. So it just, sometimes the annuals are cut down just for space. He added some more fun stuff to it, and it was really fun. And yeah, I guess my goal is to work on big things, but try to have reliable stuff coming in and out of the channels to keep people occupied while they wait for the next big thing.
That's how you can tell that he had some enthusiasm and energy when it comes to playing his established characters like Sir Handel here?
Man, well, he is an amazing Sir Handel. I really he's been one of the classic people too. Has he been around since 2006 like you?
Yeah, pretty much. I believe so, yeah.
Oh, what a guy.
So, yeah. Yeah. Miss Oliver Blossom, I believe he's been around since March 2007. At the end of March 2007.
Oh yeah, we're talking about the OGs now.
Yep. OGs.
The original gangsters of Thomas and Friends.
Yep. And Moab and Trollover 476.
Oh, that's
good,
Joey
man.
Turner. Is Train Lover 476.
I know.
Oh, my bad.
I'm sure everyone knows. So that's okay. Yeah. Same thing said for Turbo J UK and Emily Fan 619. She was around since summer of 2007. Until now, she's focused on some other stuff. Albeit she's still a nice person to talk to, and I just had a lot of people in the decade on my head right. Okay. And we're on to one of the final questions, yeah? Do you have anything special to say to our viewers?
I would say that, Thomas has been going through a lot of changes, but Thomas is also a great tool for bringing people together. And no matter what happens, it's always an incredible outlet to use your imagination and escape and make something that you feel proud of, or at least gives you some enjoyment. There's so much untapped potential in Thomas and Sodor that can really get the gears turning and make people happy. So no matter what, in some way, Sodor can be whatever you want it to be. And you should have solace in that.
That is a very nice message to say, Matt. Very inspirational indeed.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're very welcome. I like that one too.
Well, Daniel, do you have any closing words for the viewers as well?
Yep, that's where we're getting to. That's just about now. Let me think. Let me try think. Something has to come into my head first. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I think it's escaping me, but it should be coming back. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, oh yes. Now we've come to the end of another installment of SmurfyDan interviews. But before we go, Matt, do you have any questions for me?
Oh, when is Legacy 6 coming out again?
Yes, it will be coming out Saturday, July 14th, 2018. Saturday, July 14th, 2018.
Saturday, July 14th?
Yep, it'll be around 18 years since Thomas and the Magic Railroad came out in UK cinemas. All
right, 12 days from now, folks. You better be ready.
Yep, be prepared as well. That said, thank you for still being a wonderful guest of the series, Matt, and for some interesting stories on how you came to be on YouTube and on the Thomas fan base and whatnot.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yep, you're very welcome, man. So, shall we bid our farewells? I'll let you go first if you like.
All right, goodbye, everyone. Thank you for watching and have an awesome summer.
And this is SmurfyDan signing off. Toodaloo!